What happens when the unthinkable becomes a conversation? For nearly 2 decades, the idea of Sidney Crosby or Evgeni Malkin in another team's jersey was pure fantasy, a blasphemous thought that no one in Pittsburgh would dare entertain. Now, heading into the 2025-26 season, it's not just a whisper, it's a topic of the week, fueled by comment from agents, vulnerable confessions from players themselves, and a general manager who just drew a firm line in the sand. The question we have to ask is no longer if the end is coming, but if we are witnessing the very beginning of the end right now. Let's start with the captain, Sidney Crosby. The entire storm kicked into high gear when his own agent, Pat Brisson, publicly suggested that Sid could, theoretically, request a trade. For fans at a 5-alarm fire. However, trusted Penguins insider Josh Yohe of The Athletic has poured some water on those flames, stating plainly that he believes Crosby is not going anywhere. So what's really happening here? This seems less about Sid wanting out and more about a calculated power play. The context is crucial. The Penguins are a team in transition, and veterans like Brian Rust and Rickard Rakell are constantly being mentioned in trade rumors. Brisson's comments could be interpreted as a strategic warning shot to the front office. If you start dismantling the team around Sid, you are creating a situation where he might become unhappy. And as everyone in the organization knows, the number one rule in Pittsburgh has always been, you don't make Sidney Crosby unhappy. But while the Crosby situation feels like a strategic negotiation, the dynamic surrounding Evgeni Malkin feels far more real, more immediate, and infinitely more uncertain. Malkin is entering the final year of his contract, and there are currently no signs of an extension on the table. Last week, he made some incredibly interesting and vulnerable comments, admitting he's not sure what he would do if a contending team called the Penguins about a trade. He even referenced the possibility of following a path similar to Brad Marchand, who accepted a move to a contender late in his career. This is an agent talking. This is Gino himself, acknowledging his own hockey mortality. Yohe admits that while he'd be surprised if Malkin is dealt, it's possible. The major roadblock, however, is a practical one. Malkin is now 39 years old. After a season with 16 goals and 50 points, what would a team realistically offer in a trade? The Penguins won't give him away for nothing, but his market value makes a potential deal incredibly complex. This brings us to the man in the middle of this organizational storm, Kyle Dubas. For years, the front office has operated under the assumption that the happiness of its legends was paramount. Dubas just shattered that assumption with one single, powerful statement. He promised that he will do what is right for the Pittsburgh Penguins, regardless of any kind of comment or thing said in the media. Let's be crystal clear about what this means. This is the president of hockey operations declaring that the long-term future of the franchise will be his top priority, even if it conflicts with the short-term desires of his star players. This is the Dubas doctrine. He is signaling that no player, not even a living legend, is bigger than the organization itself. Of course, both Crosby and Malkin have full no-movement clauses. They hold the ultimate power. They can veto any trade. But for the first time, we have a general manager who seems unafraid to at least ask the question, to force a conversation that was once considered taboo. So here we stand, at a tense crossroads. We have 2 franchise titans or agents and their on-ice allies on one side, trying to preserve the last years of a legendary era. On the other, we have a forward-thinking executive tasked with the impossibly difficult job of navigating the twilight of that era while building the foundation for the next one. While a mid-season trade for either Crosby or Malkin remains highly unlikely, the dynamic has fundamentally shifted. The conversation is no longer about if they will retire as Penguins, but about the circumstances under which they will finish their careers. We are being forced to confront a future without them. And for the first time, that future feels like it's right around the corner. Legends never truly leave, but their jerseys do. And for the first time in a long time, we are being forced to imagine what this team looks like after its titans have moved on. This is a heavy topic, and I know every single one of you has a strong opinion on it. So let's hear it. If you were in Kyle Dubas' shoes, what would you do? Do you ride it out with Sid and Gino until the absolute end, no matter the cost of the team's future? Or do you make the impossibly difficult call to approach them about a trade to acquire assets? There is no easy answer here, So let's debate respectfully in the comments below. If you believe this core should stay together until they decide to hang up the skates, hit that like button and let me know